Hello there. What is going on, everyone? The Crashed X-Wing Battlefield expansion is now officially announced by Atomic Mass Games. We have a little bit more information on this particular expansion, what it is going to be, what it's going to be coming with, and a price point and a release date. I'm going to talk a little bit about this today. We'll give you some of the details. Also, I'll talk about some of my thoughts towards the end of the video on expansions like this as well. If you guys haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. That's going to enter you to win that lightsaber giveaway that's running for the remainder of the year. Also, it's going to enter you into the 12 Days of Life Day giveaways we're going to be running in December. So plenty of time for that. Also, want to do a huge shout out to our sponsored Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens compatible with Star Wars Legion as well as tokens compatible with other games. We're getting real close to holiday time. It's a great time to get holiday gifts in, get your holiday gift requests in, let people know that this is what you might want for special times of year, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, birthdays, Thanksgiving presents. Sure, well, let's do things, who knows? Whatever you want. Check them out. Amazing tokens. They're going to really make you want to play your games more. Use code Crabbok VIP to save 15%. All right, so the Crashed X-Wing is a terrain expansion. It had been kind of leaked on some of the European Asmodee sites last month, and we've seen a little bit, with some images, and we saw, of course, an X-Wing pilot as well, and she's been painted up a little bit differently now to have a very distinctive, not Luke Skywalker appearance, even from a distance. I think most people could tell that this clearly wasn't Luke Skywalker, but I think a lot of people who might just pass by this, shelf appeal is certainly something that's important, and a lot of people are going to be walking past stuff thinking, whoa, is this Luke Skywalker? And so I think they repainted the helmet a little bit more recognizably not Luke, because at first glance there were some questions like, well, who is that? And I think most of us, maybe even most of you watching, were easily able to identify this as a different character right away. But I like that they painted the helmet blue. It makes it a little bit more obvious to more casual fans or newcomers to the game. We also get some good shots of the astromech here. So what is the Battlefield expansion? This Star Wars Legion Crashed X-Wing Battlefield expansion. Well, I'm going to read you how it's listed, and I'll put a link in the video description below if you want to go check it out. You can pre-order it now. It's $100, not cheap. It says players can add even more thematic flair and play out a unique scenario with this Battlefield expansion for Star Wars Legion, featuring 4 miniatures depicting the scattered rubble from a crashed X-Wing starfighter. This pack more deeply immerses players in the ground battles of a galaxy far, far away. And then, well, it just says galaxy far, and you have to go down. Let's see here. Players can even right, far, far away. Oh, here it goes. I'm like reading as I'm doing this. And the second part, far, far away with thematic terrain. In addition to these miniatures, this pack also includes a Rebel pilot miniature that becomes the focal point of a daring rescue mission scenario where players battle to salvage the wreckage and rescue the pilot or capture them. So players are trying to rescue a pilot or capture a pilot. So what does it come with? It's going to be $100. You can pre-order it now. It comes out December 16th. This is going to be a slightly larger box. Looks to be bigger than the Crashed ATST, it's got most of the X-Wings kind of size, and the X-Wings are a lot larger than a snowspeeder. They are a lot larger than a lot of the vehicles, at least far as like certain, amount of like the footprint that they would take up would be much larger than most of the other stuff. Even the LAT. I think they're going to be larger than that. Now, this is not going to be the full footprint of an X-Wing because, of course, part of the nose is underground there. It's under the rubble. But in addition to just the X-Wing itself, you do have the entire piece of, like, snow that it's on. They have it painted up as snow. Supposedly, you could paint this on, anything you want. And, you have one wing missing on this side, which is also over here. There's actually going to be 4 pieces of terrains. We have the base, kind of the main piece of terrain there. We've got one of the wings poking out of the ground on another part. And then we have another part of another wing, part of an engine, and then just maybe a portion of the hull. Like, it looks like the side hull with the astromech kind of locked in the I don't know if the astromech is going to be part of it or not. And of course the downed X-Wing pilot miniature, which is basically all of the stuff we're going to be getting in here. We also get a look at the back of the box as well, and of course that is going to have all of the stuff that is included in there, and a quote from Luke. There's some other stuff in here as well. It does say, if we zoom in, the contents, it comes 1 plastic miniature, 4 terrain pieces, 1 upgrade card, 3 oversized scenario cards, and an insert sheet. Now, this is the interesting part to me. It says it's got a scenario, but it says 3 oversized scenario cards. So it's very unclear. Now AMG has tweeted that they're going to be talking about this. November 15th, they'll be live streaming on Twitch to take a closer look at the scenario in this expansion. So it seems very clear that there is one and only one scenario that comes in this expansion. So the 3 oversized scenario cards may simply be the deployment condition and objective of the scenario, because in all Legion games you have 3 cards that kind of tell you what you're playing. But if they're oversized, I would imagine like maybe oversized would have been so that they can put all of it on one card. So leading, and I know some people have speculated that the 3 oversized scenario cards means you're getting 3 different scenarios, and I don't believe that to be the case. Everything that has been said on the article, or at least the social media post that they put out today, or yesterday rather, has indicates it's 1. The Asmodee store indicates that it's 1. So I'm pretty sure these 3 oversized scenario cards are probably oversized for the purpose of not being confused with the regular the regular battle cards that could go into your battle deck. I think that was probably something that they maybe was brought up, and that the old FFG scenarios have battle cards that are kind of look the same as the battle cards that are tournament legal, and so it would be very easy for some, like a new player especially, to assume that those were able to be mixed in. And so by making them oversized, that's my guess as why they're 3 oversized scenario cards. It's probably just, hey, this is strictly a scenario play, so not tournament legal. The 3 cards for condition, deployment, and objective. And of course your insert sheet, you're going to have your rules that are going to talk about give the credits for everything, and any, I would say assembly instructions, but there won't be that. We know there won't be assembly instruction. But the thing that I have a question with is the upgrade card. Now, my guess, realistically, is that this upgrade card represents what happens when you claim the objective, in this case, that being the downed rebel pilot. So when you have either rescued the rebel pilot or secured the rebel pilot, you'll gain this upgrade card that says that something happens, like your movement speed is reduced by 1 or something like that. I would imagine this scenario would be very, very, very similar to how hostage exchange works, except just with 1 hostage that you're both rushing towards the middle to get. I would also expect that certain keywords will not be available during this particular scenario. Things like what was the one for the crashed ATST, where you couldn't you couldn't deploy in the middle of the battlefield early, and things like that. And probably secret mission and bounty may not work in this particular one too, because if you're supposed to win by capturing the pilot, you shouldn't have little secret ways to win. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right or not. And if so, that would be kind of similar to how other scenarios have been in the past. I just actually kind of anticipate this one to be very, very, very similar to the crashed ATST scenario, just because it's scenario where you gotta, both sides want to get the thing that starts in the middle, and assuming that I just imagine the Rebel pilot will start in the middle, because, well, where else would you put them? So, but it could be different. Maybe somebody gets to move them, and then the other person gets to move them also, and then I don't know. Will be pretty interesting. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my thoughts for a pack like this. I have quite a few. I'll start with this. I think AMG is kind of, they're putting out this pack, and it's similar to kind of what FFG used to do with the terrain packs, and that we can't just sell terrain because we don't have a license for just terrain, but if we write a scenario to go along with it, then we can justify it as a scenario pack. But it's a kind of really this. I don't think this is people are going to buy this for the scenario. I think if anybody who buys this will probably be buying this for the terrain. I also don't think a lot of people will buy this. One of the main reasons is the terrain game is. For them to play the terrain game, they're kind of late. There's already an oversaturated market of terrain. There's a lot of companies, third-party companies, Etsy shops, big-name companies, digital STL file companies making terrain. A lot of people 3D printing their own terrain. A lot of people crafting their own terrain. A lot of people buying their own terrain from all of these other companies that are doing all types of terrain. And crashed ships were one of the first things that people started doing. Not only crashed ships, but intact ships. There are probably more ships than almost any other type of terrain out there. So they're going with some of the most some of the most common terrain that exists. And I'll be honest with you, I'm actually a really big fan of some of the aftermarket ships that are out there. There's a lot of stuff on Etsy. There's Legion Terrain has amazing crashed ships, and there are ships that happen to have a flat bottom that you don't have to worry about, I painted the rocks and the dirt around it a different color, now I can't use it on this desert table. Well, the other stuff that's out there is way better, and the price point, $99 for I get that you're getting 4 pieces of terrain, but they're small, right? I mean, the one is decent size, but the other ones are super tiny, right? Like barricade size. Like this one may be a little bit bigger than a barricade, but these two look like they're gonna maybe not even provide heavy cover for like this one. I don't know. Maybe I just I feel like it's very limiting to put that much dirt on a piece of terrain as well too, because now however you paint it, you either have to paint it very like a mix of all terrain types, like a little bit of desert, a little bit of grass, a little bit of snow, a little bit of rock, a little bit of lava, a little bit of mud, so it works on everything. Or you just, paint it, go all in with like the snow and then hope that you never want to use it on a non-snow table. So I mean, that's a small gripe. I just feel like other companies have done this better. There's free STL files out there that are doing stuff like this better. So anybody with a 3D printer probably already has a number of these. So I don't get, the hey, let's try and get into the terrain market, especially at an absurd price of $99. When there's literally very little demand for this product. That's my main gripe is you're making something that nobody was asking for. Well, kind of. There's probably some people out there that really like scenarios. I am not one of them. I don't like scenarios. I wouldn't get this for the scenario either. I feel like a game like Star Wars Legion, so much of that gameplay is in crafting your own scenario. So much of the game is about that bid and the game that happens before the turn 0 game, where you're laying out the battle cards and then you're vetoing this and we're gonna play this. So which objective, which condition, which deployment, and you don't know what you're gonna be playing going in, and now you have to hope that you don't get this particular objective because that one's really hard on your list and it's really good on the opponent's list. And so the whole turn 0 step of the game is completely removed when you play a scenario. Now that's fine for once in a while, I suppose. I just don't ever see any scenarios that interest me at all. I don't mind necessarily playing my own scenarios. If I were to invent something, I might think it's interesting, but maybe that's because I invented it and I'm biased for my own stuff, right? And I know a lot of other people kind of will sometimes come up with their own scenarios, and I feel like to me, scenario play is just somebody else's homebrew, and so I'm not a fan of it. And I feel like all of the scenarios that I've seen from AMG kind of fall into one of two categories. Basically, secure an area like a King of the Hill type of scenario, or a secure something and run away with it, like a briefcase or something, or what I imagine this one is going to be. I imagine this one's going to be rush to the middle, grab this, this token, which is going to be the downed X-Wing pilot, and get out of there and keep her alive until the end of the game, and keep her, in your custody until the end of the game. And maybe if you get her to your deployment zone early, then you win. Maybe maybe your speed will be reduced because otherwise you'll have Boba Fett go in there and just be like, got you before anybody else, and then get out of there really, really quick. So I feel like that's going to be. I think you're probably slowed when you're carrying it. And the thing is, there's already scenarios that do that. I don't feel like that adds anything new to the game. And look, I've been a part of some of these scenarios. I play tested the crashed ATST one. It was, I just never liked any of them. I'd rather make my own gameplay by playing Legion the way it was meant to be played. And maybe if Legion is the only game you play and you've played every scenario combination to exhaustion, then that might be something that, let me know. What do you guys think about scenarios? I know that I'm not the only person that doesn't care about these scenarios, but I can't imagine that there aren't people out there that are interested in this. And maybe this scenario excites you. I don't know if it's worth $100 though, but maybe it excites you. Maybe you're really looking forward to coming up with this. I feel like AMG kind of does the same kind of game scenarios, and all all of the Marvel Crisis Protocol scenarios that I've seen. They have their subtle differences, but they're pretty much every game of Marvel Crisis Protocol I've ever played comes down to I need to have some guys sit on this point to score victory points, and I need to have some guys pick up the other things and run away and keep away with the other, because Marvel Crisis Protocol always uses two different scenario cards and adds them together, and one is always a King of the Hill, like secure the point, and the other one's always the grab the briefcase or the hostage or whatever and run away with it. And so I feel like every AMG scenario is like one of those two things. And then has some killing thrown in there, because killing's a part of the game. So you can either kill each other or you can win on points. And what they've done with like X-Wing, with their 2.5 rule set, they put mandatory scenarios in the standard play. And all of those scenarios are kind of one of those two things, right? They're like secure an area or grab a thing, and it's just I don't know. I don't like that. I feel like it's the same exact two scenarios, kind of copy and pasted over different game systems over and over and over again. And this one looks like, to me, it may end up being just another one of the same thing. So I don't know. I have kind of a sour taste in my mouth for scenarios. I'm not interested in them. They have no value to me whatsoever. But wouldn't it be funny if, let me go back, if the upgrade card that came in here was an actual like tournament legal upgrade card that put this Rebel pilot in a Rebel list, and it was like a really good personnel upgrade, and now all of a sudden Rebel players were like, well, I guess I about to buy 6 crashed X-Wings to get 6 of these. Wouldn't that be something? I don't think that that's the case. Not at all. I don't really think that they would do that. But if they did, whoa, that would be the craziest cash grab I've ever seen. Of course, they won't do that. That would just be funny if they did, though. I would be laughing and then maybe crying. But I do think it's a really cool sculpt. So let's talk about what I do like. I think it looks beautiful. Look, Rebel pilots. I want more Rebel pilots, right? I think it's one of the most iconic Rebel designs, and we don't see enough of them. This is the first one that we've seen that's going to be available to everyone. The Luke Skywalker Hoth miniature was kind of limited release, so while a lot of people have that one, we should have a whole unit. We should have Rebel pilots that we can use in tournament play outside of the Luke Skywalker miniature, right? We should have a whole squad of Rebel pilots. They're in every single movie. They're very, very iconic, and we have TIE pilots kind of in the form of Inferno Squad. So I'm glad that this sculpt is being worked on. Hopefully this isn't the last Rebel pilot we see. I want to see more of these. It's very, very cool. I also like the work that they've done with the sculpt of the actual terrain. I mean, it's a nice looking X-wing, and they've done some different things with it, like bent the one piece. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it cannot even be considered positive feedback. I don't know. It's like anybody. I've bent a lot of pieces on accident, so I don't know if that's really a good thing. But I mean, it's kind of funny with the astromech in the rock and everything. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna stream it. They'll talk about this scenario. Maybe the scenario is gonna be really awesome. I don't expect it will be though, because I think they just wanted to make a piece of terrain to sell, and I think they had to just come up with a scenario to copy paste on there in order to be able to sell a piece of terrain. So my advice for AMG, which they're not going to listen to this video anyway, so it doesn't matter. But my advice would be, if you want to do terrain, try and do stuff that nobody else is doing. Look at the market, look at the aftermarket terrain that's out there, and see where there's a gap. See where there's a gap. See what's not being done. What I would suggest is, I think there's a big gap when it comes to epic Star Wars battlefields in the form of crashed ships. No, not crashed ships like this. I mean, crashed capital ships. I want to see a crashed GR-75. That's a perfect piece of terrain. It'd be huge. You can break up pieces of the hull, put it all over the place, and you can make it into a big box set. It could be your whole table. It could, I mean, I've got a crashed Imperial Raider that I will use and it's epic. It's huge and it's gorgeous and it's got so many bits and pieces. You can litter the whole battlefield with it. Still kind of looks like a Raider. Obviously, a Raider is probably a little too big to fit on a 6x3 playmat, and so it's not the entire Raider, but it's enough of the superstructure to remind you what you're looking at and feel very thematic. But the company that made it is out of business now, and so like people can't get that anymore. So crashed ships are awesome. Now, I think it was Battlefront 1, Star Wars Battlefront 1, that had a crashed Corellian Corvette that you kind of go on the ground and you're fighting around. I think a CR-90 would be an amazing thing to do. It might be a little too big. So my thought was, and I talked about this on Discord. By the way, if you're not in our Discord, jump in. I want to see somebody do this. And I think if AMG could do this, they would have my money in a heartbeat. Even if it was crazy expensive, it would be worth using the credit card on. A CR-90, but it's 2 tables worth of terrain. And the idea is it would look really, really good at a tournament if you have it set up on one table and then another table. And so you put the head on one section and the tail end on another section. I think it'd be awesome. But I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments section. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. I will talk to you later. Let me know your thoughts. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. I will talk to you later. Goodbye there.